Cool. Okay, so opening their eyes is what we need to do now. Okay, and just getting it ready so that everything's in place to present it. Okay. So it doesn't have shoes yet, but I'll come at some point. Cool, so for the eyes, how yours should probably still be at the moment is like so, closed. Okay. Now, once we, well, having it like this basically means that when we unwrap it, we have more to work with when we unwrap it so that our UVs there won't stretch. And all we need to do is make a face shape which opens it up. Okay, which is pretty straightforward. Yours will be like this at the moment. Okay, so yours will have, oops, let's get that one first. Okay, nothing there. So to make the shapes, to open the eyes, we need first of all a base shape, okay, which basically allows you to still edit your base mesh without changing your shapes, okay, and have that, well, be applied throughout your shapes. So, someone's early today. Okay, so then we need to make a new one, so it says key one, and that's actually one that we can edit, so I'm going to turn it on, and now reposition this eyelid so that it is pretty much around my eyeball and open. Okay, so how I'm going to go about doing that, first of all, I just want to focus on that area. Okay, so I'm going to select the points of the eyelid, okay, so from there up until there. Okay, so if I move that, you'll see, yep, all of those are selected. And you can do this either with this connected proportional editing on, which will then move some of the connected points around it as well, or not if you don't want to. Okay, now all I need to do is basically just open the eye. Okay, so I'm going to pull these up, and the thing that I want to try and do is these edge loops going around the edge of the eye. Okay, so from that point over there to that point over there, which won't select because it's behind the mesh. Okay, those, I don't want their position or relationship with each other to change at all. Okay, so when I move those three, I want to move them together always. Okay, so be careful of moving those too much, and I also want to have them move as closely to straight up and down as possible, so I don't really want them to move side to side much. Okay, so I'm just going to pull all of that up. Okay, which means I need to pull these up. And those I'm just going to slide on top of the mesh. Okay, so I'm not going to have them move too much. Okay, pull them up, pull them up, pull them up. Okay, also the corners of the eyes, which are basically just an edge loop, I can smooth out a little bit as well, or lift out so it's not as pinched. Okay, it's nice when it's closed, but it's not necessary to have it be that pinched when the eyes are open, so I can smooth those out a bit as well. Okay, and then the lower lid's also just straight down. Okay, now I just need to go back and make sure that they're actually still touching the eyeballs, so I can just pull them back into the face, or into the eye, so they're still connecting. Okay, ideally we don't want the thickness of the eyelid that's, well, sticking out of the eye to change when they're blinking. Okay, so if you do need to move them side to side to preserve the shape, you should. Okay, those need to go in a bit as well. Those need to go back a bit as well. Okay, so that way. Okay, we can still tweak it a bit perhaps. That way we've got our edges. Pull those out a bit more. Okay, so somewhat like that, or however your eyes are actually shaped. So if they're opener or narrow or whatever, tweak that way. Okay, that way, now we have open eyes and enough mesh to actually close them properly. Okay, we will, you see it's going through the eyeball there, that we fix when we rigging them to actually open and close properly. Okay, so that's the one thing that you need to have done as well, is you want to present them with the eyes open. Okay, don't apply that shape or anything, okay, because then it was all for nothing. Okay, so make sure that once you have it open that you still keep the shapes and everything active. Okay, cool. Okay, once you've done that, we should pretty much be ready to present it. Okay, so all I want in terms of the presentation is I want to see your characters. You're still going to be working on them and refining them and whatnot till the end of the module, so I don't want you to waste time rendering anything just yet. But I do want to have your blend file with everything nicely named, okay? And then just basically screen grabs of the character with and without his wireframe on. Okay, so, and for that I want screen grabs of his face and of his entire body. Okay, so in terms of entire body, first of all, I'm going to show you something. If you turn on their wireframe in the traditional way by selecting the cube icon there and saying wire, and then turn on this only render, the wireframe goes away. Okay, just be aware of that. So how you can set it up, basically, turn on the wireframe for everything, make your screen grab, so you have the screen grabs with the wireframe on, and then just click that only render button and make the screen grabs with the wireframe off. Okay, so whole body as well as close-up of the face. Okay, now to go and select all your meshes and go into each one, say wireframe and draw edges and whatever, it takes a while. Okay, also, just be aware, if the wireframe is on, in our modifiers, our subdivision modifiers, we want to have this optimal display on. So you're not showing me a mesh that's just entirely black for the wireframe. We also want to see what the actual modeled level of detail is, and that shows us that. Okay, so it's the actual edge loops that we have. Okay, so it's far more accurate this way than the other way. Okay, things that I am looking for in terms of the wireframe, okay, when you hand this in, remember our edge loops, so around the eye, going around the eye and over the bridge of the nose, around the lips and the loop coming over the bridge or over the nose and around the mouth. Okay, so those loops I'm looking for. I also want to see that how you modeled your eyelid, okay, so that there are only 3 lines coming in at the top and at the bottom, as well as lines to sharpen up the corners. Okay, those things I'm looking for as well. Okay, now doing that for each and every, or turning on the wireframe for all of your objects can take a while and it's a bit annoying. What you can do, I closed it already, is download this. Okay, this is the Aramanth, I'll post this link as well, Aramanth toolset, okay, which is a bunch of, basically, you can go through over here all the features of it. But it's just a bunch of really nice to have buttons, okay, which help in Blender make things a bit quicker. Now, let me just post that so long. Okay, it's this class announcement. You know what? Add link. That looks like a link. Okay. The one thing that allows you to do is turn that off for this character. There we go. Okay. In your display menu over here, it gives you these buttons. Okay. And if you turn on subsurf optimal display and you say display, it turns it on for everything. Okay. Now, if it happens to so you have an object which isn't that detailed, but it still displays that detail, then you can possibly turn off that draw all edges button, okay, which sometimes helps. And also, like for there as well, the eyes, you can then just select the eyeballs themselves and just turn them off the eyeballs. Okay, so we don't need to see them over there. Okay, now as I said, what I want is a screen capture of it like this, as well as like this, and also of his face, a nice close-up like that, as well as like that. Okay, now how you can do it is if you press Shift Space, you actually full screen that window. You can hide all these panels, positioned nicely in there, and then just either, I don't know if there's still a snipping tool in Windows 10. Snipping tool, okay. These literally, it's just so that I can see it. But you can then get one of them and save that. Okay, literally, this is all I want to see. So I want to see your loops, nice clean mesh, with the optimal display on, so I'm only seeing the loops that you have. Okay, if you give me a mesh that has the optimal display off and it's like your subdivided mesh as well, then I'm going to assume that's the level of detail that you modeled in, okay, which is bad. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Then literally just save these as face wireframe, face and face wireframe, whatever, and then body and body wireframe. And I want to see this from the front and from the side. So I'm going to say face wireframe. Okay. Side view. Make another one. Face wireframe. Side. Okay. And then turn your, sorry, that's just in here. Only render on, and then do the same thing. Okay, so you again, new face side, front, face front. Okay, so that, and then also just the full character. Okay, so the same thing, front, side, as well as a wireframe front, side. Okay, so that's what I want to see from you guys for next week, as well as your blend files with all your goodies named. So I don't want to see anything that's unnamed, okay, preferably. And also nothing that's any like random meshes that you're not using, please delete those as well. Okay, so that's what I want from you guys for next week. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, stop that.